Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. This video we're going to be covering sketches and constraints. So I mentioned in the last video how sketches are the key to creating your 3D objects. You first have to create a sketch before you can turn it into your drawing into a 3D object. So in order to start your sketch, we're going to do the create sketch. We're going to use this plane. And then we have all these options up here. We have rectangles, circles, splines, which we'll all talk about hopefully in today's video. Just to start off with, we're going to do a simple circle. And now we have a couple of options. We can either create a circle in the center, which I'm going to do, and I'm going to give an exact amount. I'll do 95. And now I'll also choose a random circle. I click C to create a circle, and I'll make another random circle over here, but I won't choose anything. So now, if you notice, there's two fundamental differences between these two circles. On this circle, the outer edge is black and the center point is black, whereas over here the outer edge is blue and the center point is white. The difference between these two circles is that when it's blue, it's because it's undefined and it's not constrained to a specific point, meaning the radius has not been defined. I not plug in an amount I want the radius to be. So I could still drag the circle however large and however small I want, and I could also move the center point wherever I want. Whereas this one, I can't do that because I already plugged in an amount when I was creating the sketch. The reason why people would want to have it like this, where it's just not defined and freely moved, although it could lead to mistakes if you accidentally click it and now you lost the original amount you had before. If you're not sure of the type of size or shape that you're looking for, you can always make it like this and you can adjust it as you please until you get the sketch that you want. Whereas this, if let's say you're building something exact with exact measurements, you can type it in beforehand. Now, in order to actually define it, we need to go back to our plane, to our order right here, right click, do edit sketch. That will bring us back to over here. See right here, it's locked in at 95 millimeters and it's constrained at the center. When I say constrained, I'm talking about these things over here, all these constraints, which we'll get into eventually in terms of lines and rectangles. But if once I wanted to define this circle, I want to define its radius, I can use the select dimension tool or hotkey D, and you'll have this little arrow with two arrows pointing to two parallel lines, and you click center out, and this gives you your diameter, which is 52. So I'll lock it in at 52. And now when I do finish sketch, I can no longer move it in and out. I can't make it bigger. However, I can still move it around because I have not defined where I want the center point to be. So to do that, I will once again do edit sketch. So now this circle is already locked at 52. Let's say I want to lock this center point, let's say right there. So I'm going to select dimension. I want to measure from the horizontal axis, and this is exactly 80. So I'll click enter. And I also want to lock it in from this vertical axis, so I'll do this from this vertical axis, and that is 60. Now I'll click enter. Now when I finish the sketch, this now has a black line on the outside and a black dot in the center. I can no longer move it or shift it anywhere I want. Now that we have these two circles here, we're also going to go and draw tangent lines from the two circles. So how can we do that? We once again create sketch, go onto this plane, and we'll choose a line, or I think it's L. Yeah, so you can also use hotkey L. Let's say we'll just draw a random line. This line is free to move, free to like become longer, change the angle, all of this. If I want this to become tangent, I can select it, and there's an option right here to constrain it as a tangent. So I just click tangent, and I'll make it a tangent to this circle. Now, this line has now become tangent to the circle. But let's say I also want to make a tangent to this circle. I can click it. Now this is tangent to this circle. Now I'll just make the dimensions. It's 122. I want to make it a little bit bigger. We'll go with 150. Now it is tangent to this line, to this circle. Let's say I'll do it again. I'll make a line here, and I'll make it tangent here, there. Don't know what just happened there. And now we'll do it again to there, and one more time to there. Just broke my line in half. So now we have our two circles, and I'll dimension it. We'll go with 120. See, it automatically gave this a constraint, a horizontal constraint, which I don't really want. But while it's here, I'll just keep it here. So now we have this weird geometry shape. So I'm going to clear this. I'm going to add in go with a polygon. Right here's a circumscribed polygon. I'll put it over here. So the cool part about this is, let's say you're doing this and you don't really know the size. Let's go with 100. Be there. You click tab to switch the amount of sides you want. So if I want to add just a square, it'd be boring, it'll give me a square. If I want a decagon, give me 10. If I want a dodecagon, it'll give me 12. I don't know how far this can go, but it will probably keep going for forever. So just for ease, I'll go with a hexagon, click enter, and there we go. So now this is clearly not parallel or horizontal with any of the lines, and it's kind of annoying. So I could click one edge, and I can make it parallel to the horizontal or vertical. I can also make it perpendicular to whichever one I want. So I'm going to go with horizontal vertical, and we'll see which one it snaps to. This one should become parallel with this because it will go to the closest axes that it can. There we go. So now this line is parallel to this one over here. Since I didn't actually give it an amount, I should be able to drag this wherever I want, as well as I already made a size. Thing is, this has to be parallel to this, so I can't spin it. I can only move it in a way where it will still be parallel to this line. Now, in order to dimension it, go back down here, click Edit Sketch. Let's say I want it to be 100 from the center point and 100 from the center point. I'll click D here, click this center point. There we go. We'll do 100. So let's say I just do 100 there, and I want to do the other way. Now I can only slide it along this axis. I can't move it up or down. I can only move it along this axis. So now I'll define it from here to here. This axis will also do 100. And now it's, oh, that's actually cool. And now it's, that makes sense. We'll do 150. There we go. Now I can't move it, and the lines have turned completely black because it is now defined in that spot where it needs to be. So I can no longer change it. I can literally only extrude it into a new shape. For most people, the easiest thing for them to do will be start on the center point. And most people who are designing, they kind of know what the size they want, whether they're measuring with calipers or things. So you can just type it in 240, and it will be defined in the center and have a defined radius. So that's the basics of constraint. You have midpoint, concentric circles, collinear symmetry. There are many things which you can do with this. It's a very powerful way to start sketching, and then next video we'll move on to extrusion and extruding objects into three-dimensional objects.